hail sale they've ever had. A huge opportunity is at your front door right now. Some of these cars we're fixing, some we're not, and some it's totally up to you. New Sierra starting at $15,000 off list. New Canyons at $8,500 off list. New body styles on the Acadias, $3,000 off list. You need to hurry as there's going to be a lot of people heading to Louisville. Check us out at couplecars.com. Stock numbers G121492, G187747, and G196599.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
National Electrical Safety Month is held every May to raise awareness about the importance of staying safe around electricity. Visit les.com/safety for safety tips on power lines, tree trimming, storms, and so much more.
Hey, what are you talking about over there?
Huh?
I said, what are you talking about?
You know, Bill, I think it's time for both of us to get our hearing checked. We should head over to Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them. They offer a free hearing consultation and screening, affordable hearing aid prices, and a knowledgeable staff with over 30 years of experience.
Visit Christensen Hearing Analytics today in Williamsburg Village or give them a call at 402-489-3450. Christensen Hearing Analytics. A better life starts with better hearing.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
This is On the Block with Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Jay Foreman, middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America, on air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Welcome to it. Welcome to it. Welcome to it on a Tuesday. That means it's a short show for us. I'm Austin Orman here at 10 at 40 O Street, joined on the stream by my partner, E. Strick 20. Let's not waste any time. Let's bring him in. What's good, partner? How you doing?
Good. I did that because it seems as if right about the time we jump on the block, there happens to be the mowers outside cleaning up, brushing up, whatever they're doing. So pop in, pop out, say what I got to say, and let you do your thing. Shout out to all those who are popping in, listening to us here on the Block 93.7 The Ticket. You see it. We represent. And, yeah, man, things is good. Listen, woo, it was some tight games last night. The playoffs starting to really get ramped up, and it's jumping off. So, yeah, some good things happening.
Eating some good basketball action, eating some good meat from the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with 3 Lincoln locations and 1 up in Omaha. Check them out, themercadobutcher.com. Stricky, right now, all 3 home teams have lost. Another series starts yet tonight. That'll be the Minnesota Timberwolves hosting the Golden State Warriors. Golden State wins tonight. That is all 4 underdogs, all 4 lower seeds that will have gone on the road and stolen home court advantage away. Let's talk about the games last night, though. The first one in the NBA Atlantic Division, Eastern Conference semifinals, second seeded.
Wait, real quick, Austin. Before you get into the specifics of the games, just in an overall, so that way I can cover it and I don't have to speak on them individually, but just as an overall, and coming from a player as well who has been in the playoffs. One of the focuses we focused on when we went into a playoff series, especially if we had to hit the road, is that first game. Because meaning they're usually a higher seed. They probably, 1-4-2 sweep, 4-2 sweep, 4-1 gentlemen's, and they have that time off, right? And what we would do is hopefully we would get out in 6, 5 at the best, get out of 6. You don't want to go 7, but if you have to go 7, you got to do what you got to do. But you're still kind of fresh. It's normal. It's coming off of the season, and you're used to playing a game, jumping on a plane, going to the next. So your body's already used to that cycle. So it's not as tough as what people would think. Yes, it's more physical. Yes, you've given your all because all of it's on the line. But at the end of the day, it's not a bad thing. But for those who have been waiting, the goal for those coming on the road, let's go get that first one. Like it's an all out, we coming out of here with this one, and then here's what'll happen. There'll be you'll kind of be lackadaisical. Instead of keeping that energy, why not 2? You know what I'm saying? Why not 2? Instead of keeping that energy, you'll probably see just a little bit more ease of play, because in the psyche, we did what we came to do, get one. And so this is the game that plays. Now let's get into the details of the game.
Let's get one. I think it should be let's get at least one, because 1-0 is an annoyance. 1-0 is okay. Well, now we know. Now our eyes are open. You got us. Ha ha. 2-0 Strick. That's legitimate series pressure. It's doable, but 1-0's fine. 2-0 is, oh crap, we got to pay attention to meetings again.
Yeah. Woo.
Oh, let's rip.
Oh, woo.
Tricky from downtown, like the Boston Celtics.
Ooh, it was trying to hold up, go. No, but seriously though, man, that psyche needs to take precedent. We going on the road to come out of here with dubs. Ooh, you know what I mean? But that's not necessarily the case. We'll see. We haven't, I haven't seen that energy and that smoke in quite a while. There are some teams that do it. You've had obviously the Mavericks were one of those teams that they were like, hey, we about this business when they won in 2011. And there's others that have been out there. But normally the psyche is that go in here, just get this one and let's go home and get our 2. And now the pressure's on them. That's kind of the psyche of it. But which game specific you want to go to?
While we're on the topic of road games and the mentality, Strick, I got to give a tip of the cap to the Denver Nuggets.
Facts.
They come off a knockdown, drag out, back and forth 7-game series, backs against the wall. Now they blow out the Clippers in Game 7.
That's key.
Which is key, but Stricky, they had their travel day and they were playing again. They had that one night off, which to your point is kind of that normal NBA schedule. Whereas the Oklahoma City Thunder, before last night, May 5th, the Thunder wrapped up their series against the Grizzlies all the way back on April 26th. They had 9 days off, 8 or 9 days off between games. On the one hand, that's nice. On the other hand, rust. The Thunder got up by 13, and then Strick, they looked like they didn't have that edge. They didn't. Denver had that mental advantage. And they had the best player in the game, do the best player in the game kind of stuff. And Nikola Jokic down the stretch.
Yeah, and if you looked at the first half of that game, you definitely saw the energy. One of the things about OKC too is they're very deep, so they don't have to. They don't play with a shrunken lineup. Usually guys will reduce it down to 7, 6, 8 at the most. But OKC has the capabilities of going upwards of 9, at any given time. And so one of the things is they preach about being ready, giving all you got. And you saw that in the first half. Caruso and those guys were really getting after it defensively. Great things, blocks out of Chet, just they were really active, right? Getting turnovers, getting fast break opportunities. And it was frustration on Denver's part. You could see Jokic was very frustrated. They weren't able to get to places. Michael Porter Jr. looked like he didn't get on the plane. He looked like, if you've seen that movie, I think it was Chronicles of Riddick. See, I'm a movie buff. If you've seen Chronicles of Riddick, the guy who was the head guy of who Riddick was going against, I can't remember the whole thing. I need to go back and watch it. It's actually a good movie. What happened was he had the ability to be in one place and zoom his body to another. That's Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr.'s body was there in OKC.
Mm-hmm.
He hadn't left Denver yet. So what I'm saying is he could leave his body. He would be a shadow of himself back here, and he would go over here. Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. was still in Denver. He didn't show up the first half. Now, he was still a part of the game, but boy, the rest of them did. Shout out to Jokic doing Jokic things.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Gordon, 2 game winners in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to him. And shout out to Westbrook. Westbrook is proving everybody and their mama wrong right now. Going up against his former team in OKC where he really did work, and then also what he did against the Clippers. So, I like what they got going on.
I think there's a couple things to point out from this game. Number one was Russell Westbrook, right? It would have been so easy, Strick, for him in a return to Oklahoma City. I think his first time playing against the Thunder in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. It would have been so easy for Russell Westbrook to go hero ball, to put his head down in transition, try to go through someone's chest, which he can still do. Russ is still a pretty darn elite athlete, even by NBA standards, despite as long as he's been in the league. And I think Russell Westbrook 3 years ago probably does that. Russell Westbrook 15 years ago, absolutely.
Definitely.
But Russell Westbrook here played the moment perfectly. He was under control. He pushed, didn't see advantage until Aaron Gordon comes up the sideline, makes the simple kick out pass. And I think if you're Oklahoma City, you live with that shot. Aaron Gordon's a pretty good shooter. He's not elite. That's an above the break 3 off of movement, which he's an NBA player. You'd like to think he makes it. I don't think it's a terrible shot for Oklahoma City to give up in that case, especially when they're only up by 1 point, right? Denver's not trying to get downhill to the rim. They had no one in position for an offensive rebound if Aaron Gordon would have missed. But to your point, Strick, it just kind of continues the storybook year for Aaron Gordon, who is reeling from the loss of his brother, Drew. Earlier in the season, the Nuggets have been supportive, kind of rallied around him. But for him to face one of the toughest years of his personal life and respond with 2 huge moments professionally on top of the life be life and stuff where he stepped up, to his sister-in-law's family in a big way as well. Even if we don't know everything that's going on off the court, it just makes you happy for guys like that who play their role. To see Aaron Gordon's journey from Arizona, where he was a stud, to the Orlando Magic, where he was probably miscast, to finding the right home for him in Denver as the 3rd or 4th option. It's just a really awesome story, and I think everyone in the NBA should be happy for Aaron Gordon and his ability to show up in these big moments.
No doubt about it. And again, like you said about Westbrook, the maturity, the humility, as well as the, they probably get blown out of the gym if he doesn't show up in different spurts.
Mm-hmm.
In the first half, getting to the mid-range, understanding what they're trying to do to him, taking it to Chet's chest,
Mm-hmm.
and getting big steals in the previous playoff game, and making big plays and making big shots, and so he's playing again. If he continues on, they're going to be dangerous. If Westbrook can continue to break the mold of what they think of him or what the scouting reports say of him, he's going to be fine. Indiana did the same thing, man. Oh, you got something? Go ahead.
Yeah, before we move on to the East, because two really good games out East. Couple things from the text line. Brad, our resident Magic fan, says, I want Aaron Gordon back. I would say the Magic have younger, fresher, more suited to be option one Aaron Gordon and Paulo Banchero. So I think you've upgraded in that way. And then BJ in Wichita says, Joker is unreal, Strick. Joker's mind is almost on par with Larry Bird's. You buying? You rolling?
Yeah, man. Joker's serious. Like he literally took control. It was good to see both the 1 and 2 choices for the MVP this year. It's either going to be Shea or it's going to be Joker, and I don't think they're going to give it to Joker again. I hate to say that because it's obviously some there's some media biases that exist out there that don't want to see Joker. Although Shea's Canadian, him not getting it, what he did last year, you know, the voters have a sympathetic way of giving, like they did with Embiid. You know, they have a sympathetic way of kind of giving it. But if you really get down to advanced statistics and metrics and all of that, you definitely can see the value. Now, listen, Shea's led the number 1 team. Shea's put in the work. Shea's doing the job. They've improved from what they did. I think they've improved. I think they look better this year than they did. So yeah, we'll see.
Last thing on this game, then Oklahoma City gets out-rebounded by 20, including allowing 21 offensive rebounds to Denver and 24 fast break points. Not great for a team that just came off of that one travel day of quote-unquote rest. But, Stricky, you mentioned out east, 2 really good games that, again, the underdogs win. Indiana looked the part of a contender. Tyrese Halliburton was Tyrese Halliburton him in this one. Indiana moves and moves and moves the ball. Some of the best passing, the most passing in the NBA. And of all the 3 games so far, Strick, I thought Indiana's was the most definitive, the most conclusive, and the least fluky. I was impressed with the Pacers.
Pacers to me, bro, are scary. They're kind of scary because they have a style, they have a pace by which they play in. They're capable defensively. I think they've gotten to a point where they understand the roles. I think Cleveland just kind of let themselves down. I mean, they just kind of sat on it. Again, you get that good eating at home, that good sleeping in your bed, that good comfort, and sometimes you begin to take it easy. And this is a similar thing here, which they said, look, we're going in there to get one, and they came in there and you know, stunned them. And it's going to be up to the Cavaliers. You know, the pressure shoots to them. A 64-18 record, 34-7 at home. And then if you lose this series, there's going to be some heads that roll.
Absolutely. I mean, everything that staff did in Kenny Atkinson to improve that roster, to get it clicking offensively, it was really just the Donovan Mitchell show. 33 points, but Stricky on 30 shots. That's good team defense from Indiana, saying we will let Donovan Mitchell go off. The other guys aren't going to beat us. And of course, it helps that, you know, Cleveland on the day only shoots 9 of 38 from 3. Mitchell himself went 1 of 11. I think Cleveland probably shoots it better from 3 moving forward. Indiana probably won't go 19 for 36 like they did. But Indiana had Benedict Mathurin step up. I mean, 4 of 10, 3 of 5 from 3. You look at Andrew Nembhard, who seems to raise his game in the playoffs. He's kind of, to me, Strick, Andrew Nembhard, creeping into that Derek White, Drew Holiday discussion of guards who just get better when the lights get brighter. Miles Turner was pretty solid, had a double-double with 13 and 11. And even Pascal Siakam, I mean, only 6 of 15 shooting, but 8 rebounds, 4 assists against only 2 turnovers. Indiana looked the part. The flip side of that, the Boston Celtics lost to the New York Knicks for the first time this year, Stricky, shooting 15 of 60 from 3. 63 pointers. Overtime or not, that is so many threes. Are you concerned that maybe the Knicks figured something out with their perimeter length and closeouts? Or do you think this is the outlier for Boston and the Knicks should be a little worried?
Well, Boston, that's what they do. They're shooting, but the issue is you can't have both Brown and both Tatum struggling the way that they are. Usually, what happens is they command so much energy and focus that it opens and makes ways for others. Or usually, someone else steps up. They didn't have that on the night, and so that's very unfortunate for them. But these can be an outlier for Boston. They're capable of having an off game, and in this one, it just happened to be the first game. I do want to mention something though about the Houston debacle. I think it's where they signed an extension, but to not get what they got out of Jalen Green. I think what's going to end up happening is I think they need to move him. I don't think they can move him with his performance on this situation. Somebody might take him, but it's very possible somebody might take him. It's a favorable extension contract. You're going to have him for the length of that time where that can fit. But I think for them to go forward, they're going to have to either move him. And I don't think they move him in the summer. I think they're probably going to see what he comes back, what his off season is going to look like, what it's going to possibly happen with him in the early parts of the season. And if it does, if he has a pretty good solid start, and they may try to move him at the trade deadline, but I think they need to move him, to be honest, with that situation. But again, they could be in the OKC slot for what happened with them. Still, that's a possibility as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to monitor what Houston does because his contract is not prohibitive, right? It helps get a lot of the way to the salary of a lot of these star players. And there's really been two that Houston's been linked to throughout the offseason in Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo, two guys that want to move. But Stricky, I saw someone throw this out there, and I don't hate the idea. What if, instead of Kevin Durant from Phoenix, what if they get Devin Booker to go to Houston? Would Phoenix do that? Would Houston want that?
I mean, yeah, I think now that his contract is coming to a close, do a quick check on him. I think he may have a couple more years left on his. With a couple more years left, yes, I think he's a better option. I think you have, with the length of Eason, with the way that Thompson played, Thompson actually looks like the emerging star there. But you add a shooting component like a Devin Booker to that. And if Devin understands that he's not going to be the number one show there, but be a part of the program, and with the leadership of Van Vliet, he doesn't have to handle, so he can get back to just pretty much, coming off screens and doing what he does, and spotting up and shooting with the post abilities of Şengün. So yeah, I mean that's not a bad look.
And that really will determine a lot for Houston because they could go star chasing or they could go the Oklahoma City route because Green and Şengün, Stricky, are both young. They're not, we don't think, who they're going to be as players, right? They still have room to grow and mature. To your point, Devin Booker and his contract, he is signed through 27-28. So he'll be a free agent again in 28-29. So there's some years left there.
Yeah.
49 mil this year, then 53, 57, and 61, which is definitely good money for a guy like Devin Booker. But
he's the only movable piece, I think, Austin.
I still think you can move KD. But
that your window shrinks with him and what you're going to be able to get for him. Mm-hmm. So it's just pretty much an unload move because you're stuck with Beal. That's nothing happening there until maybe the last year of his deal, where a team is basically saying we want that 40+ million of salary cap relief. We'll take him and then cut him, and then going into the great good night. A young team will probably do that. That's looking to just kind of really be able to amass some salary cap.
And that's where, Strick, I do think that Kevin Durant, it would take a tightrope for Houston. But I could see them being able to walk that line potentially. KD's in the last year of his contract next year, making $54.7 million. Houston has enough depth, enough young guys that I think there could be a way. I don't have the deal, outlined in my head right now, but an NBA GM probably would, to get Kevin Durant, see if he can take you to the top next year. And if it doesn't work, well, he's off the books. Is that attainable? Do you think that's doable? Or do you think KD's going somewhere looking for that last contract?
It depends on what you'd have to give up, because there's no one on that team that has a salary that and if I'm Phoenix and you want KD, I'm trying to fleece you. Like I'm trying to get Thompson. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to get Şengün because I know you're not going to give me that. I would even take probably Eason. I'm trying to get because you can't do it with just Jalen Green.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And Jalen Green and Booker and Beal, you're basically in the same road. So if I'm Phoenix, without Şengün, I don't want it. Like if it's Şengün, I might do that. I need that. You know what I mean? I need that type of player for the way that I want to play. But if it's not Şengün, then I don't want it. I'm just thinking outside. Obviously I'm not there. I'm not GM, but that's just the way I would view it. You're basically taking in 4 more years of $40 million, yes, but you're going to have to give in something else because you're not going to be able to do that. And why would I give up draft picks? I don't want to do that either. If I'm Houston, I'm really still trying to, put pieces together to fill these voids. I'm not going to be able to keep Dylan Brooks the whole time. So I'm trying to do some replacement therapies there. So, I don't know. We'll see.
We certainly will see lots of decisions to be made if you're the Houston Rockets. Game 1 tonight in the other series out west will be Golden State at Minnesota. We'll react to that a little bit more tomorrow. Stricky, we'll cut you loose. We got B. Muncie pushed back a day. Plenty to get to in Husker recruiting. Enjoy the games tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow, my friend.
Mañana.
He's E. Strick. I'm Austin. I'll respond to a couple of your texts here during break. Appreciate you reaching out on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line 402-464-5685. Going to call up Brian Munson and have a Husker football recruiting conversation when we get back.
Follow Austin Strick and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
This is it, Husker fans, your final chance to see Nebraska baseball at home this season. It starts Tuesday, May 6th with a huge rivalry matchup against Creighton. Then it's a Big Ten showdown as the Huskers host Michigan May 9th through 11th. Every game matters and your support can make the difference. Great seats are still available, but they're going fast. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/tickets or by calling 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and they're having the biggest hail sale they've ever had. A huge opportunity is at your front door right now. Some of these cars we're fixing, some we're not, and some it's totally up to you. New Sierra starting at $15,000 off list. New Canyons at $8,500 off list. New body styles on the Acadias, $3,000 off list. You need to hurry as there's going to be a lot of people heading to Louisville. Check us out at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G121492, G187747, and G196599.
Are you a fan of local wine, craft beer, cider, or spirits? Don't miss SIP Nebraska's 12th anniversary celebration May 9th and 10th at Mahoney State Park and join others who share your passion for great drinks. Enjoy unlimited tastings, live music, delicious food, artisans, and lawn games as you celebrate Nebraska's vibrant beverage industry. And when you find one you love, you can buy a bottle to take home. Choose your ticket package at sipnebraska.com. The SIP Nebraska Spring Festival, a Blur event, May 9th and 10th at Mahoney State Park in Ashland.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Make plans to join 93.7 The Ticket and the Amon Green Foundation for the first annual Nebraska Esports Golf Tournament on Monday, June 9th at Wilderness Ridge. It's a 4-man scramble starting at 11 a.m. that will feature former Husker greats, including Amon Green, Johnny Rogers, Niles Paul, Tony Davis, Adam Carricker, Vershawn Jackson, and more, with great prizes and great golf. Sponsorships are also available. Email Jake at theticketfm.com for more questions or sign your team up online at theticketfm.com. Early bird registration goes through April 20th, and overall registration goes through May 30th.
When opportunity knocks, you don't want to miss the call. Hamilton Business Technologies makes communication easy and efficient using customized technology, all while putting people first. Whether you're working from the office, at home, or on the go, Hamilton Business Technologies equips your business with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Grandma and Grandpa, Mom and Dad, then the kids, and now the grandkids. Judson Irrigation has provided lawn sprinkler system design, installation, repair, and service to 4 generations. They're just like members of the family. Loyalty, trust, service. It's what you deserve and expect from Judson Irrigation.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
National Electrical Safety Month is held every May to raise awareness about the importance of staying safe around electricity. Visit les.com/safety for safety tips on power lines, tree trimming, storms, and so much more.
Are you buying a home? Westgate Bank understands that you need to make important decisions during your home buying journey. Our local lenders in Lincoln and Omaha make themselves available so you can get the information you need to know. Use our mobile mortgage app to manage your transaction from pre-qualification to closing, no matter where you are. Get the service and convenience you want from a local community bank where our interest is you. Learn more and visit us online at westgate.bank. Westgate Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Rolling right along here during On the Block. Austin Orman with you. We strict hopping off for the day, but that's okay because we're hopping over to our Aloe Fiber VIP line. Aloe is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We go there. It's a different conversation. Usually we have this Mondays at 3:30, but Mr. Flexible, Brian Munson, was willing to move around for us. Brian, thanks for your flexibility. We needed to make sure we had you on to talk about the big news. Nebraska lands a quarterback in its 2027 class. That's Trey Taylor. How did the Huskers seal the deal with the Illinois State product?
Yeah, he's always had a great connection to the Nebraska staff, number one. I mean, he's been saying that since he set up all the visits in March and April. And I think that's really where it kind of comes back to. Every time he's on campus, he feels like he's at home. And I think that's just kind of grown for him. I think he's grown comfortable. I think that Nebraska is definitely on board, made it very clear how badly they want him and they need him as part of their 2027 class to kind of get things going. I think it's a two-way street too. I think Trey needed some convincing to understand like how serious Nebraska is about investing in the club and recruiting and being able to go out there and get guys. I think it's one of those things like, look, if you really feel like the limitation is going to be that you can't get guys to come to Lincoln versus going to Baton Rouge or wherever, that could ultimately be the glass ceiling, on your career. So I feel like he was able to kind of figure that out and knows where Nebraska is at when it comes to recruiting. I think Nebraska has done a stellar job when it comes to restanding back up again the 2026 board. We'll be talking about official visitors here, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
And you're going to have 2 quarterbacks now. They're going to be able to help, be your unofficial recruiting coordinators in Raiola and Taylor. So it's absolutely huge. I mean, he's already gotten to work. It's been fun to watch him on social media. He's an incredibly mature young man. And I think that he's very respected amongst his peers. I mean, this is a guy that not going to surprise me if we're not talking about somebody that's going to still increase in ranking, as kind of time goes on. He's still in his sophomore year of high school. Remember that.
Mm-hmm. You went both places that I was going to take you next. So let's start with where you just left us off.
Sorry, buddy.
What are the chances of Trey Taylor becoming a 5-star rated quarterback? Do you think he eventually gets there? What's that going to take?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the tools. I mean, I think what it kind of comes down to is everything kind of gets refined, and you're looking for, Charles Power with on 3 is one of the best in the biz. he's going to go back and take a look and see like where things are at physically and where things are at developmentally and what the toolbox kind of looks like and how he makes all the throws. And he's going to break it down, and he's going to figure out like whether or not you're talking about a high 4 or if you're talking about a 5-star. I mean, he's already incredibly highly rated. I think people should feel really good about that. I think the other side of it is too, obviously, is that he has this incredible network of players and recruits that he is connected to, whether that's been through like 7-on-7 or playing against them before in the past or just through social media, etc. I mean, I think obviously that's going to be the question on everybody's mind. You know, can Nebraska, you know, basically will Taylor develop into a 5-star? And I think it's just going to really matter about like how he kind of takes a step ahead and step forward his junior year. And I think obviously he's still growing. I think that somebody had mentioned that he had already like shot up to 6'3". I think we have him marked at 6'2.5". So I think that's obviously something else that people are going to keep an eye on because, again, you get those limitations where you got to paint guys into a box. Like you can't quite get there unless you're that exceptional Kyler Murray kind of athlete guy. So Trey's got all the tools. That is definitely not going to be his problem. It's going to be if he can put it all kind of together, and he's got an amazing discipline. So I think people should be betting on him.
Let's say that he does get to that 5-star ranking by the time he is ready to come to campus. What kind of message would that send nationally about Nebraska being able to reel in now 2 5-star quarterbacks potentially in the span of 4 years?
I mean, it definitely tells you that Nebraska is serious about going out there and getting the best that they can put under center, you know, and put out there to manage their team. I think, and this is the part I was going to kind of put in 3 and out. I think what you're going to get, you know, if you're a Nebraska fan or if you're, you know, a Nebraska staff, is you're going to get that that duration of time that you didn't get with Dylan. You know, Dylan has a commitment. I mean, that happened all in December. Everything happened so very quickly, and he never had this chance to kind of ride the wave of having a 5-star quarterback commitment. You know, and pretty soon, you know, he's flipping from Georgia over to Nebraska, and everything was very late in the game to kind of get anybody else to kind of follow him at that point. I think it's going to be very interesting to kind of see that and how that's all going to kind of play out when you got like the next 12, 16, 18 months essentially to kind of do that with Trey. I mean, that part to me is going to be very, very interesting to watch and see how Nebraska is able to kind of capitalize that. How many times, you know, he is going to be back on campus, you know, kind of leading things on the sideline. I think that's going to be very, very interesting to watch.
You mentioned that network of players that Trey Taylor is connected to, whether it's in person or on social media. Are there any names that stand out that you think Nebraska should get involved with based on their connection with Trey Taylor?
There's been a couple that he's mentioned, like, you know, just I could see myself, you know, talking or throwing the ball. I think it was Trey Moore. He just picked up an offer from Nebraska yesterday. There's another wide receiver too before in the last couple of days that he had mentioned. I thought what was really interesting, I think the one that really caught me off guard was that, you know, he clearly had some sort of a connection back to Zane Rowe. And that was during the spring game weekend up in Lincoln. Now, people might not care too much about that, but you have to consider that Taylor's from Illinois and Rowe is from Texas. And that to me just kind of tells you that it transcends, you know, being a direct competitor with, or being from the same state or in the same region, or, you know, having somebody a go-between, you know, basically between you and somebody else. These guys are states apart, and they are totally aware of who the other guys are that are there with them. And I think that a lot of that has to deal with, you know, going to similar places, being recruited by similar schools, reaching out to people over social media, following them, just being generally interested. And I think that they're just kind of building a relationship as that kind of is going along. So I think that part's been kind of fascinating to watch. But I think that there's a couple of wide receivers. I think the part here to kind of, you know, to keep an eye out on, obviously Dayton has been very involved, you know, like with Mosley and Lincoln Watkins and other players that he's already been helping out and recruiting for Nebraska. don't put it beyond like Trey to get involved, and try to make sure he can help out the 2026 class however possible. I think he sees the greater good there in both classes. If he can be of any type of assistance to any of that, I think he's going to do it.
We're talking with Brian Munson of Husker Online after Nebraska lands Trey Taylor in the class of 2027, being really the keystone, the cornerstone to that class at the quarterback position. Brian, what do you think these next couple of years will hold for Trey Taylor in terms of connection to Nebraska, communication, and how hard will other schools keep pursuing him? Is he shutting it down, not taking calls, or will these other programs always be kind of bugging him, trying to put that little plug in his ear?
So yeah, the first question is the first answer to your questions are I think he's going to be very very involved on campus most of the time, if not every time he can get there. It's not going to be the same as necessarily like a local kid, like a guy down the road in Omaha, but I think it's going to be something very close. I think he realizes the value of getting there. And if there isn't an ability to kind of have that value like in person, don't be surprised if he's doing it, from behind his phone, or through some app or whatever, communicating with people. I think he's going to be present in more ways than one. I think he's going to have a definite impact on how recruiting is kind of pulled together. The other side of that, the other question that you had asked, recruiting is not over for him. I mean, I know that he went through the process, and it was an amazing process, and he did it so maturely and show that he can kind of sit out there with this plan and go through it and come up with a decision. But I mean, it's not going to stop, USC or Texas or Georgia or anybody else from, trying to pick up things and continue to recruit him over the next 18 months. I mean, it's like CJ Bronow, right? I mean, CJ Bronow is a guy in the 2026 class that absolutely blowing up for Nebraska. Going to take some official visits, this summer, but definitely Nebraska is squarely in the picture, probably still in the, the catbird seat with him, So I think Nebraska fans should feel good about it. I think they should feel really good about things with Trey Taylor to kind of make that early cut. But I mean, it's going to be a challenge. I mean, there's no teams are going to back off of this guy just because of the amount of time that's there. And I think also how talented he really is. I think that's going to be the overwhelming factor.
Brian, you've brought up that word mature in regards to Trey Taylor a couple times. I think Illinois fans would try to push back on that, right? Based on the commitment ceremony. Was that a Trey Taylor getting swept away in a moment of youthful exuberance? What did you make of the moment from his actual signing ceremony?
I think he's a 17-year-old kid. Right. I think he's a kid that has had to grow up very quickly, and I think that he acts maturely and 99.9% of all the other times he is there. And he went through an incredibly stressful process that took him to a lot of different places, met with a lot of different individuals, and came up with a decision that he felt like was best for him. And he's celebrating. He's blowing off some steam, and he's happy with what he's got kind of going on. I mean, you know what? If it wasn't a Big Ten hat, would Nebraska fans be upset? I mean, at least you're going after a team that's in the same conference. I mean, it's kind of 6 1/2 dozen on the other. I mean, to me, it was all in fun. I understand why maybe the Illini might be upset about it, but in all honesty, I mean, they're kind of a team that just kind of came out of left field too. I mean, that wasn't necessarily a team that I felt like was there. I thought it was really Nebraska and Louisiana State. So, you could either be upset about how he treated your hat at the end of the day, or you can be thankful and you got your name mentioned all the way down to being a hat on the table, and Trey Taylor chose Nebraska.
Fair enough. I just thought it would be fun to get your insight on that there. Not the only commit, though, for Nebraska. If we spent 12 minutes talking about Trey Taylor for good reason, again, quarterback in the 2027 class. But Nebraska did add another recruit, and that's in-state linebacker Jace Reynolds. What's the lowdown on him, Brian?
Jace is just, he's an incredible, balanced, versatile linebacker. He can do all the things. He can stop the run. He can pin his ears back and go get the quarterback. And I think the part that I really enjoy watching him do the most on film, that I think he's so incredible at, is he can play in space. And usually when you get like a linebacker, they're good at they're really good at one thing, can kind of go ahead and cover two things, and maybe, they're really good at two, but they can't get the third. I mean, Reynolds can do all three of them. And I think the limit, I think what's really going to get into his path and his process, and maybe what's going to kind of help him out with focusing on a position once he gets to Nebraska is just, he's a 6'2", 200-pound guy. So where does that size, project into the Nebraska defense? Like, where does he start to get too big, too stocky, too much lean mass on there to where you start crossing over and all of a sudden you aren't as fast, you aren't as quick, you lose athleticism because you are stacking too much. So I think that's going to be the interesting part to see like where his body takes him. But I think he does everything incredibly well. But I tell you what, when you watch his film, and maybe that's just simple analysis, but I really enjoyed watching him in film. If maybe the speed was there a little bit quicker, like 100-meter speed, maybe it was more of a 10-40 yard dash kind of thing. He could even be like a joker. There was like an in the box kind of safety guy. Because I think he plays in space that well. I think he's a tremendous linebacker.
How does he compare to a couple other in-state linebackers Nebraska has recently secured the commitments for recently, and Christian Jones and Pierce Mooberry?
Mooberry is a pretty good comparison. Mooberry is going to absolutely be one of those guys that can kind of get off the edge, and going to play in some space. He's a little bit longer, a little bit more athletic. He's longer than Jace is. Christian Jones, to me, I think the thing about him is like, I think he could actually play Mike, but you don't have any film of him playing Mike, and he's so put together, and he's such an athlete. I think that's kind of like one of those things where you're just like, well, I think you could do this. You could pin your ears back and be a guy, but what about the possibility of playing inside in a 3-4, and in an odd front, and let's just put it that way. And I know you've never done it before, and it's going to be a springtime of experimenting and doing all these other things. It'll be fun. But I think with Christian, there's just so many different things that you could see him doing too. And one of them was he never even did in high school. So I think that's. I think there's probably a little bit better comparison to like Mooberry, even though Mooberry's a little bit taller. And I think though that out of those two, I would put Jace slightly ahead, just because I think that he's just got a little bit more versatility there to him. But I think Mooberry, as far as like the frame is concerned, definitely has a little bit of an advantage.
Last one then on the comparison front, more Luke Reimer or more John Bullock and Jace Reynolds?
I'm gonna say Bullock. And either way, that would have been a great. That's a great comparison. But I'll say Bullock.
Fair enough. Brian, once again, thank you for your time. Thanks for making time for us on a Tuesday instead of a Monday. Really appreciate all your insight, all your hard work. 3 and Out tomorrow on Husker Online?
Yes, tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
There you go. Get there, huskeronline.com for Brian Munson's 3 and Out. Thanks a ton, B. Muns. Appreciate you.
See ya.
Brian joined us on our AlloFiber VIP line. That's where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We'll go to break, wrap up on the block here in just a moment.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Grandma and Grandpa, Mom and Dad, then the kids, and now the grandkids. Judson Irrigation has provided lawn sprinkler system design, installation, repair, and service to 4 generations. They're just like members of the family. Loyalty, trust, service. It's what you deserve and expect from Judson Irrigation.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you the listener on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
Support Matt Talbot Kitchen and Outreach on Give to Lincoln Day. Your gift will be received by a portion of Lincoln Community Foundation's matching fund. Homelessness is a complex problem facing our community. By working together, we can find solutions. Your donation for Give to Lincoln Day moves us closer to ensuring that everyone in Lincoln has a safe place to sleep at night. Because of your generosity, hope lives here. Give anytime through May 29th at givetolincoln.com.
This is it, Husker fans, your final chance to see Nebraska baseball at home this season. It starts Tuesday, May 6th with a huge rivalry matchup against Creighton. Then it's a Big Ten showdown as the Huskers host Michigan May 9th through 11th. Every game matters and your support can make the difference. Great seats are still available, but they're going fast. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/tickets or by calling 1-800-8-BIG-RED. Get ready for the largest dirt late model event in Nebraska, race fans. The Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series is heading to Eagle Raceway's High Bank Heist on Thursday, May 15th through Saturday, May 17th. See the greatest dirt late model stars in the country compete for $10,000 to win on both Thursday and Friday, and an enormous $50,000 to win 75-lap main event on Saturday. The High Bank Heist, May 15th through May 17th at Eagle Raceway. For more info, visit eagleraceway.com. Let's go Lucas Oil Late Model Racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
You grew up on cereal for breakfast and you graduated into drinking coffee at some point as an adult. Now there's a place in Lincoln where you can stay caffeinated but eat like you used to. Control Coffee and Cereal Bar brings Saturday morning vibes to every day with locally roasted specialty coffees, Lotus energy drinks, and tons of breakfast cereals with toppings. And did we mention they have video games to play while you're there too? Control Coffee and Cereal Bar open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the weekends at 15th and Pine Lake.
Hey, what are you talking about over there? Huh? I said, what are you talking about?
You know, Bill, I think it's time for both of us to get our hearing checked. We should head over to Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them. They offer a free hearing consultation and screening, affordable hearing aid prices, and a knowledgeable staff with over 30 years of experience.
Visit Christensen Hearing Analytics today in Williamsburg Village or give them a call at 402-489-3450. Christensen Hearing Analytics. A better life starts with better hearing.
Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Final segment of On the Block comes your way here on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. I'm Austin Orman. Final segment of the show brought to you by Love Volleyball Omaha. Get your season tickets for the first time. Renew your season tickets at lovboma.com. Kansas City Royals news is what we like to do here on the program. Royals win yesterday 3-0. Cole Reagans makes his return from a groin strain, strikes out 11 batters over 5 innings, joining a short list of Royals pitchers to accomplish that feat. A name I had not thought of in darn near a decade. Actually had the record for most strikeouts through 5 innings as a starting pitcher for the Kansas City Royals, and that was a man by the name of Nate Carnes, who I had not thought of in a long time and probably will never think of again after this moment. But good to see Cole Reagans back on the bump. The Royals ace recovered from that groin strain. Did miss that one start, and that's where Noah Cameron came up from Omaha, and and went 6 1/3 innings before allowing his first hit. Was a little bit of effective wildness there for Noah Cameron in his first taste of the big leagues against the Rays, as he did have a few walks. But Noah Cameron, a successful start in place of Cole Reagans. Reagans' return is in fans 11 over 5 innings, and the Royals get the win, making it 12 out of the last 14 for the Royals, who experienced a bit of a power surge on their road trip, hit a franchise record 7 home runs in an 11-6 slugfest against Baltimore in the rubber match of that series. And if the Royals are looking for more pop, Jack Caglione is getting closer. No, he hasn't officially been called up yet. No, he hasn't been moved up to Omaha, but Cags did it again. I mean, he went deep twice today, 2 homers, 4 RBI. He's hitting .330 in Double-A with a 1,012 OPS, which, for those of you who don't know, anything over about 800 is really good. And Cags is running up over 1,000. And in his last 15 games, he has a .455 batting average, a .530 on base percentage, and an .800 slugging percentage since he was in a 2 for 28 slump. He has busted out of that in a big way. He is dominating Texas League pitching, and the Northwest Arkansas Naturals win today's game 5-4. I'm of two minds of this. On the one hand, if they're starting to play him in the outfield for the first time in his life, don't rush him. Let him get comfortable with the glove on. Make sure that doesn't affect his hitting, because you don't draft a guy like Jack Caglione for his glove. You draft him for his bat. And his bat has shown up in a huge way over really the last 2 weeks. And then again today, 3 for 4, 2 homers, 4 runs driven in. On the flip side, the Royals still need help offensively. Some of their underlying metrics are maybe better than the results numbers might indicate, but you could always use a guy that could hit .330 with a 1,000 OPS and put the ball over the wall basically effortlessly. If he's comfortable enough in right field, or if Salvador Perez is going to miss some extended time again, he just got back from some left hip soreness. Vinny Pasquantino's been a tough luck injury guy over the last handful of years. Either one of those two guys misses time, I don't think Cags is the call. But more and more, I think he's about to really start forcing the Royals' hand. I do think he's up in Omaha before too long, and I think it will be entirely deserved. It's just about time that we see Jack Caglione. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for him, even if it's not right for him. And I got to pump the brakes. The Royals might be of a different mind. Maybe they want to be too cautious, make sure that he's proven beyond a doubt that he's not going to fail to level before they move him up. Either way, exciting stuff going on down on the farm with Jack Caglione for the Kansas City Royals. We are Lincoln's home for the Royals. We'll carry them again tonight. That'll be a 6 o'clock first pitch for them here on 93.7 The Ticket. Afternoon game to wrap up the series against the White Sox tomorrow before they welcome in the Boston Red Sox. And speaking of red, go Big Red. We got Husker Wrestling in the building next. Rich Levitt for Takedown Tuesday, and the teammates timeout with Ash and a special guest as Demo's at a speaking arrangement. Stick with us here throughout the rest of the afternoon and evening on The Ticket. For Strick, I'm Austin, thanking Certified Piedmontese's The Mercado for their sponsorship of On the Block. Thanking you for listening, Blockheads. Takedown Tuesday in a sec. Are you a fan of local wine, craft beer, cider, or spirits? Don't miss SIP Nebraska's 12th anniversary celebration, May 9th and 10th at Mahoney State Park, and join